Welcome back to the Hydromecha Monthly. Last month, I had all my wisdom teeth ripped out of my mouth. That's a whopping 400% reduction in wisdom. Despite this extra-orthodontic deficiency in my mental faculties, I was still able to get all of these things done. Let's get into it. First up is the monolith field, something I threw together in Blender to practice using Yusu Paint, a plugin that adds a whole bunch of really useful functionality to Blender's texture painting. The model is loosely based on long-term nuclear waste warning messages, something I first learned about back in college. The purpose of those messages is to figure out ways to tell future humans, who might not even understand any of our current languages or culture, that nuclear waste is stored in an area. Part of that includes physical structures meant to appear hostile, intimidating, or unnatural. That's what this model pulls from, with the monoliths, spikes, and weird grid sort of thing. Some highlights of the paint job include blue painted over the shadows, a painted on normal map for the terrain, and some gradient work on the main monolith. You're listening to Heist Song. This started out as me just messing around in LMMS, which eventually metamorphosized into something that sounded kinda like spy music, so I ran with the idea of it being about a bank heist that goes wrong. I really like how the bongos turned out in this one. I've been wanting to use them in a song for a while, largely inspired by how they're used in the TF2 soundtrack. I also got started on another song based on an earlier version of Heist Song. It started as a drum and bass sort of thing, but now it's sounding a little bit more like something out of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The full snippet is up on the recent Substack post, link in the description. Bugalo is back, in more ways than one. If you're just tuning in now, Wonderful and Fancy High School Bake Club, also known as Bugalo for the sake of brevity, is a deranged collaborative comic experience wherein I draw textless pages and a friend remedies that lack of lettering. You can read the comic in full on my website, link in the description, though be warned it is not formatted for mobile just yet. In this new page, Bugalo is forced back to life by decree of Gerbil Dictator, using the aptly dubbed Forced to Live ray that had only appeared in name prior. Have you ever wondered what a magic super shotgun might look like? Well, wonder no longer. This is the Break Action Spellbook, another model I made in Blender using Yusu Paint and Krita for the textures. The Team Fortress 2 players in the room, which includes me, might say, hey, that looks like the force of nature, with Soda Popper. And yeah, it does. That was one of my references. The model originally had some funny looking barrels that made it look more like some kind of floober instead of a gun, although a blunderbuss might actually be a pretty cool thing to do later. The texture painting includes highlights on the edges, darker colors in the recesses, and some subtle grain on the wooden parts, not to mention the glowing green wear on the barrels. This is the second spellgun model I've made so far. Spellguns are firearm-shaped housings for spellbooks designed to be more ergonomic for adventurers. I'm making these with my tabletop RPG system in mind, where elemental gems are used for ammo for magic items. I also got started on some first-person animations that I'm hoping to get done sometime this month. I recently participated in the 2025 Writers' Jam on Newgrounds, a roughly 72-hour writing jam with a bunch of single-word prompts to choose from. This resulted in a short story in the world of Table Knight, one of the settings for the previously mentioned RPG system. In Table Knight, every player is named Word Knight, where the chosen word determines your character's abilities and some of your starting equipment. This story follows Mind Knight, Tackle Knight, and Psych Knight in the second part of an adventure into the Memory Hole Monastery. Let you on a little secret, there is no first part. I got the idea largely from an episode of the Venture Bros that had a similar concept. You can read the story either on Newgrounds or on my newly minted short story Substack, Hydro Storyplot. You can check that out at stories.hydromecha.website, and it'll also be linked in the description. I've also uploaded a small back catalog of older things I wrote, with more to come. The Memory Hole Monastery was originally an idea I had for a dungeon in Table Knight. I might do some more stories exploring some other dungeons and quest ideas I had. And that's all the stuff I finished since the last video. I'll see you next time with another Hydromecha Monthly. Have a good one.